it's not as bad as some people are making it out to be. Okay. Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson, it wasn't as bad. Now, did they start off slow? Yes, they did. They started off extremely slow. However, it's not like the wheels are completely falling off over there. They just do not have guys at quarterback that I think that can lead them to the promised land. We talked about this on Saturday. You brought it up perfectly. The only way that they win the SEC is they're going to need everybody around the quarterback to step it up a notch. That's all that it told me. You talk about the 3 interceptions. Well, not to overreact to that either. Garrett Nussmeier threw 3 last year and went out there and lit Georgia's ass alive last year.
Yeah.
But it's just the way that they looked that you can sit back and say to yourself and ask the question, what's really going on there? I guess when you watched Alabama, what were your thoughts?
I think the way that you just described it is a great way to look at this, where the quarterback play is bad, and that is worth acknowledging, but everything else is normal. Everything else is what we're used to seeing with Alabama, where the offensive line looks massive. There were pictures of Caden Proctor, who's a freshman.
Dude, that dude's a beast, bro.
And there's like pictures like, this is a grown-ass man that's 18 years old. This
Joe,
guy
I
is...
hate to interrupt you. I'm going to tell you this right now because me and you are going to have this conversation in 4 years. He could play guard or tackle. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, dude, my man's got some really nice flexibility. The dude moves really well. The one of the issues that a lot of times you see with these younger tackles is kind of like a weird take, or just young offensive linemen. A lot of them don't have a lot of weight in their ass, and they don't have a lot of lower body strength.
Because first off, pause.
Full play on that, because they haven't had a full strength conditioning program to build up the lower body strength. But like Proctor's got that, and they got across the board, like these young athletes that they just added. Caleb Downs looked really good, and then just they're not going to miss a step. They're not going to miss a step.
Athletically, they have. I think, Joe, they have 4 freshmen that could. I'm not going to say Harold Perkins level of impact, okay, because I think it's just different. I think, Harold had to come in and do things that he had to do by necessity, some of it, not necessarily just pure overall talent, okay? But they, like you said, Downs, Proctor, they do have some guys. My ultimate question is, where do they go? Now, Tommy Rees called plays. He didn't get, overcomplicated. But when his offense started stagnating, like, brother, they're running sluggos, right? Like they're not running quick hitches. They're not running slants. My man's out here running a sluggo. Now, I think that Jalen Milroe showed more in the 2 interceptions than what Ty Simpson did. Here's why. And why I think it could start leaning into Jalen Milroe. He was fighting for every inch, every yard. Meaning you are telling a dual threat guy to sit in the pocket. Joe, there were multiple times that he scrambled and that they blew it down. So I marked this today. Okay. I went back and watched.
Okay.
He had wide open lanes on 7 plays that, quite honestly, he wouldn't have thrown and would have been a first down. I just think the mobility from Jalen Milroe is something that we're not talking about at the current moment. And from what Tommy Rees wants to do, Joe, he ran 45 yards on a zone read and nobody could catch him, right? Like, those are just things. And if Bama is truly getting back to the simple nature of what we saw from Saban in the past, I think they go to him. And I will tell you, to anybody that will listen to me, if he gets open in the open field, he's not getting caught. He's not getting caught. I promise you that. Problem is, you're going to play him to run, and you're going to play man-to-man on the outside because you don't trust him as a passer, and that's how teams will. And I even think they're going to do a lot of the same things for Ty Simpson. If I'm Texas and I'm Sarkisian, I am licking my chops. I'm going to send the pressure at these quarterbacks all the live long day until you show me you can beat it.
Here's my one thing, though. I don't think Tommy Rees is the right offensive coordinator to try and get Milroe involved. I just don't. And I look at here are the examples that I point to. When Jack Cohn was the quarterback at Notre Dame, who my man was a statue. The dude could not move. And it was one of the most frightening things to watch where you saw pressure bearing down on him and you're like, oh no, he's going to get hit again. He's going to get sacked again. He's not getting out of the pocket because he's so damn stiff. Man, I'm killing it on these stiff and flexibility today.
Yeah, they're ripping you alive. Look, man, they're like, flip it.
I see that. But that was more successful than when they tried to implement Tyler Buckner, who didn't know how to use him properly as a running quarterback. They tried to have these run-specific plays, these read option plays, weren't that successful, especially for a guy that couldn't throw. And I know that Milroe's a little bit better of a passer, but also
he's light years ahead of him.
But he's still not great, and he's going up against better opponents, so there's concern for there. I just have this feeling that because of what has worked for Tommy Rees, who at one point himself was a very statuesque quarterback when he was at Notre Dame, that they're going to lean on that, and then he's probably going to end up picking Ty Simpson because that is what he can.
First off, if you think that Saban doesn't have the ultimate say in that, you're crazy.
Yeah, but I'm sure.
But he's picking anything.
Let me rephrase. I don't know if that Tommy's picking, but I'm sure at a certain point through all the practices and training camp, Ty Simpson might look a little bit better than Milroe because the offense is more designed for a guy like Simpson than it is for Milroe.
Here's the interesting thing that I have for Alabama, okay? I think, like you mentioned, dude, it does not pay me to come out here and give them any flowers, okay? We're an LSU Media Corps on our other show. I'm going to get ripped alive behind this. They got athletes and studs. Okay, that's just the bottom line. They have dudes. They don't have a quarterback. It's going to be interesting to find out if somebody does ultimately go in the portal.
Yeah.
Or a grad transfer that they can go and get. I just don't know if they do that, though. We'll have to wait and see. I think they go into the first game. I think it's Kent State that they play or Middle Tennessee State. Middle Tennessee. I don't remember that they play in week 1. They're going to play both dudes. I don't know who's going to start, but it's not going to matter because both guys are going to play.
Yeah.
And whoever comes out of that game is going to be your starter for the foreseeable future. And then you go into Texas, then you find out what you really got. Let me tell you something that is going to be a hot take that no one's going to agree with. You ready? Maybe you will.
Okay.
If Bill O'Brien was the OC, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have as many concerns as I have that Bill O'Brien would be the OC than Tommy Rees. I just don't think people realize how bad of a play caller Tommy Rees is.
Right, and that was what I said. That was what I clipped from Saturday is that Tommy Rees isn't a guy that I can trust to overcome quarterback
I just shared the stuff. I don't actually listen to us. I can't stand to listen to us.
That sounds about right. No, I'm just kidding. No, but that was my whole point is that like I don't trust Tommy to figure out how to overcome limitations. He had limitations and he had positive traits to work with a quarterback, and he didn't know how to operate. He didn't know how to work to the strengths of his quarterback. So like I totally agree with that. I'd be more confident right now if it was still Bob compared to if it was Tommy Rees.
I will say this. Their defense might be something serious.
Oh, they're going to be freaking good.
They're going to be better than last year. I think on talent, I don't know if they'll be a top 10 defense, but talent, like they might give up a couple more big plays than they did last year. Talent-wise, they're going to be ridiculous. And Kevin Steele is the guy that loves to send pressure. He loves it, and he sent it. Look, kudos to him. He put those quarterbacks in some really sticky situations that they couldn't get out of. They sent some heat, and they just have some dudes defensive. Their front seven is going to be pretty nice, I think. I think that their front seven is going to be nice.